This is F.D. Recovery, where we interview addicts and alcoholics.
Our aim is that through this podcast, we might help you on your journey of recovery.
Thank you for listening.
Hello, this is Frank with F.D. Recovery, and you're listening to the Weekly Intention. Hello, guys. It is August 25th, 2026, and we're at it another week. It is a Tuesday, and we're going to do the Weekly Intention, which is this week will be complaining. Yep, you heard it right. Complaining. Preferably stop complaining, right? That's the goal. But before we dive into that, we'll recap on last week, which was appreciation. Appreciation. Appreciation was a good one. I appreciated all my rest time that I had. Even though I had to work a lot, I took priority over my sleep and definitely got to sleep where I needed. Even though I feel like I never get enough of it, and I know people that are out there adulting know exactly what I'm talking about. As far as appreciation and how that works in my life is like, I'm dealing with some stuff at work, and the level of gratitude dealing with this situation, meaning like it's uncovering a lot about my own progress in life, and it's helping me look at things in such a way where like I'm so glad I'm not in the old mindset that I used to be. And watching other people kind of struggle with their struggles, it kind of highlights some of my own inner peace, because I remember and relate in their struggles, right? And I'm just so glad that I'm going through this life clean and sober, and I'm able to just appreciate it, right? Get to the point where I don't have to be connected to the drama. I don't have to be connected to the bullshit. I don't have to identify with anything that I don't want to identify with, right? And that's that's a new one for me, because there's been most of my life where I allowed things to puppet me, or I allowed things to kind of control me. I allowed things to speak for me, about me, and it all took my power away, right? I would allow it to put me in a place of just, what would you call it? Like a state of powerlessness, where I thought I had to react in anger and bad choices, and the more violent I got, the better I thought that I got a hold of the scenario. And that's just not the case, right? That I had to learn the hard way so many times. And getting to that pivot point in life where you can just look back at everything, especially when you're dealing with a very stressful situation and you're just like handling it good. And you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have to lie. I don't have to act out. I don't have to talk shit. I don't have to belittle. I don't have to, I can just tell the truth, right? And I can just speak from the heart, right? And it's just because, there's some interviews that happen, and long story short, it's getting hashed out, and it was just kind of cool to be able to bring the truth. And that's it. There was no manipulation tactics. There was no, I'm doing this for that. It's no tit for tat. It was just like, oh my gosh, I'm in a better place now. And through that struggle, I had to be mindful of, the appreciation I had. Like, wow, man, I appreciate exactly where I'm at. I'm very grateful for where I'm at, because the old me and the old lifestyle that just ruled my life for so long. That wasn't possible, and I just feel so much appreciation with my life and where it is at, and I can walk through difficult times and difficult situations. Sorry, I'm being so vague. It's just I can't really relate any of the information just because it's work related, and but it's just kind of cool to experience life and deal with stressors and deal with other people and just be connected, right? Even when it's stressful, even when it's ugly, even when you have doubt, um, just to be able to look at everything that's going on and just connect with the moment and just soak it in. So that was a big piece of my whole appreciation game this week, and I wish I could have executed a little bit more. Obviously, I always wish I'm a little bit more grateful throughout the week, um, and also I wish that I'm killing it in all areas of life as far as spiritual principles. But life shows up and it gives us challenges, and it teaches us about ourselves. And I'm just so blessed to be in this position of life where I could actually be of use to the people around me, to myself, to my family, because that was never the case. And that's my appreciation for the week. It's just very important that I just stay connected to the people around me and the tools that I have, and just appreciate the life that I got today, and just be very grateful for it, because it can be gone at any moment. We're not promised the next breath. We're not promised tomorrow. We're so we got to really look at life like a fleeting thing, because it can be gone in a second, and that's why it's so precious, right? And just talking about the appreciation piece and connecting that back to my experience in recovery is just a really cool thing where I can just like step back and actually experience appreciation. And before, that just wasn't a thing, right? And I can't stress that enough. And if you're out there struggling with appreciation, just you know take a deep breath and just be grateful for that. Start with the simple stuff. Start with the simple things you could appreciate. Start with the little things. You have sight, you have a heartbeat. If you ate tonight, you be grateful. If you have a roof over your head, be very grateful, right? Those are those things that, for me, for the longest time, just because I'm just a spoiled little brat, I just would take for granted until it was gone. And there's been many times in my addiction where I was homeless and put myself in another position where everything got taken from me and I'm arrested. So lost it, gained it, lost it, gained it. I've done that so many times I can't even keep count. And getting to that point of going, okay, I'm out of that cycle now. And once you put some enough clean time together, and you're just like, "Oh, man, and this is the shit they were talking about. This is the stuff that they were trying to get me to do a long time ago, and I wish I would have just." I know it takes what it takes, and I do not regret a single thing that happened. That, not at all. But I do look back and I go, man, I could have figured this out way sooner and been killing it. But God has a plan, and that's the way it works out. Nothing in God's world happens by mistake. And that's just something that now that I'm further into this whole spirituality and getting connected, I'm just realizing that's just more and more true every single day. So moving on from appreciation and into complaining, rather, stop complaining is my mantra for this week. Let's see what old Google Almighty has to say about complaining. Complaining, big definition, means expressing dissatisfaction, unhappiness, resentment, or pain about something. Key meaning and uses: expressing discontent, saying that something is wrong, poor, or not enough. For example, complaining about bad weather or slow service. Yeah, I've definitely been guilty of both of those, right? Reporting pain or illness. mentioning physical discomfort or health issues often to seek sympathy. For example, complaining of a headache. Yeah, I know that. Um, making a formal charge, accusing someone of wrongdoing. Oh, yeah, definitely. Plenty of people have done that to me, right? I've done a lot of stupid shit. Uh, common common synonyms: grumble, whine, moan, protest. Yeah, so that's complaining in a nutshell. But let's go a little deeper. Complaining in recovery, right? Let's see what it has to say. I know my point of views, but let's see what this has to say, and then we'll go spin off that, right? Managing chronic complaining during addiction recovery involves shifting from venting frustrations to active problem solving and emotional regulation. Imagine that, right? Active problem solving. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing out there. So when I'm hearing this, if I was hearing this first time, in a meeting, the couple months clean, I'm like, oh, fuck you, problem solve. I'll handle any problem. I don't, just that big old, just that bravado, just thinking you're a badass. It's so not the case, right? It says risks of chronic complaining in recovery. Ooh, let's hear about the risks, guys. All right. Stress hormone release. Complaining triggers. Oh, wow. Complaining triggers the release of cortisol. Ooh, the boogeyman of cortisol. We're realizing cortisol does a lot of damage, guys. So, release of cortisol, putting the body into physical fight or flight mode that raises blood pressure and increases anxiety. Imagine that. So, all that bitching and complaining I'm doing is actually physically harming me. Wow. I wonder what it's doing to other people. Resentment build up. Yeah. Ruminating on negative circumstances fosters bitterness and anger, which are major emotional triggers for relapse. Imagine that. That sounds a lot like what we said? Resentment, right? Ding, ding, ding. Tell him what he wouldn't, Johnny. Resentment is the number one offender, right? We talk about that in recovery, and we can't stress that enough. It takes us all out, man. It's such an emotional trigger. So when we bitch and moan and they did this, and right, that's why it's so important that we get into the solution, right? That problem solving we talk about. Stalled progress. Focusing continuously on what is wrong distracts from personal accountability and the daily work required for emotional growth. So that means it's actually distracting us. It's actually a blockage to actual progress, right? We're so focused on crying and using that energy for that it's actually distracts us from personal accountability, right? And which is very important if you want to even think about healing anything, like personal accountability. That has to be first and foremost, guys. And I'm not preaching this. I'm speaking first person with this crap because I was a freaking mess, man. And I still am. I'm a work in progress, and I've gotten so much better, and thank God I have, and I'm so grateful for where I'm at. But if you guys saw all my thoughts, you guys would throw me in the loony bin. That's just a reality. And I know a lot of people out there that are listening to this could freaking relate, right? Let's see. Strategies to reduce complaining. Catch and pause. Notice when you begin to complain or ruminate, and consciously stop the cycle. That's a hard one, right? That I've been, because I thought of it on Sunday, because I like to, start working it on Monday. Even if I get in here late and record it late, I like to work the principle, that's exactly what this whole show is about, right? Or at least this portion of it is working a spiritual principle. So there I am Sunday, and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking kill this, dude. I'm a bad motherfucker. I ain't complaining about nothing. day one, dude, nonstop, just bitching in my own head, bitching out loud. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't realize it was this bad. And the blame, ew, like that's the one thing I've been experiencing mostly. It's just like the immediate just shifting of all responsibility onto somebody else. And I'm doing it all the time. And I'm like, eh. So that's something I'm gotta work on, guys, that catch and pause, because it can send you down the road where you're just like, by the time you know it, you're in the fucking shit waist deep, and you're in the sewage, and you're just like, oh, like how did I get here? Well, it started back there when you first started. So if you can catch it, pause, and give yourself a little bit of buffer and be like, okay, what's my mantras, right? What's my mantras? Stop complaining. And I like to follow it up with, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. I love you, please forgive me, thank you. Every time my mind is on any kind of stinking thinking, or it's a thought that I don't need to be having, right? I try not to fight my thoughts too much, but whenever there's an uncomfortable thought that just says, that doesn't need to be there, I usually just interrupt it with, I love you, please forgive me, thank you, right? And this week it's also going to be stop complaining. Stop being a little bitch. That's what I'm going to be telling myself, guys. Maybe I'll just say stop complaining and be a little bit more positive affirmation about it, right? Let's see, rational validation. Acknowledging your feelings briefly without labeling your situation as completely hopeless or unbearable. Wow. Rational validation. Acknowledging your feelings briefly without labeling. That's so fucking hard, dude. Sorry for cussing. I'm going to try to work on my cussing, guys. I'm probably going to fail miserably, but, acknowledge your feelings, briefly without labeling. How do I do that? This whole world is built off the definitions, right? And I'm just like, how do I not label something, right? You got to have discernment for sure, but not have, like, for me, like that label, having an attachment to that label and just giving it that, like, it's this and you mother effer and that, and, and I just get there all the time, and so, maybe just taking a step out of it, looking at it and just saying, hey man, this is where I'm at. That's a good tool. I can definitely dig that. So pause, then next is rational validation. Look at it, don't label it, give yourself a break, guys. Shift to problem solving. That's definitely a tool of mine, right? I've, especially in recovery and learning all this, it's totally the mindset of just, you got to be conflict resolution. You got to be a problem solver. You got to get to the nitty gritty of it, right? If you want your life to change, right? So ask yourself, what concrete steps can improve the situation, or reach out to a support network specifically for constructive situations rather than sympathy, right? Why do they got to throw that last one in there? Rather than sympathy. Man, that hits right on the head. So, sometimes I just like to, whine and moan, and I'm just like, listen to me. And it's for what? It's for that sympathy. It's for that attention, right? I remember growing up, and I was just, didn't matter what it was. It was good, bad, indifferent. I just needed attention, and I would just do anything, anything and everything, right? It was, a good deed, a bad deed. I just kind of did it. If it brought me the same reaction, whether you got mad at me, didn't matter. I needed attention on some level, and just rebooting that and learning that, there's a different way. There's a different way. You don't have to cause a scene. You don't have to, create bad vibes. You can just allow the situation to kind of unfold and take action with problem solving, right? I just did everything for attention, sympathy, and all the wrong reasons. And today, you step into this problem solving mindset, and things start clicking, right? It's a beautiful world when we're in the realm of flow state and spiritual principles. We're living a godly life, guys, as much as we can, as humble as we can, and it's hard. And most of the time we fail, right? Most of you guys out there that hear what I'm saying, we fail tremendously and often. But that's the beautiful thing about God's world. There's a lot of forgiveness in it. There's a lot of take your time. There's a lot of, hey, take it easy on yourself because you're all you got. God got you, and we'll do this healing together, right? Walk with the Lord, guys. Whatever that means to you, whether it's Jesus, Buddha, Allah, whatever it means to you, whatever higher power you guys got out there, I urge you get connected to it. I'm not one of those guys that ever try to tell people anything, right? Spiritual path is a very personal thing, and how you get connected to God, it needs to be authentic, and it needs to be personal, and it needs to be in your heart, right? And connected with you and your experience. So use professional and peer tools, right? What does that mean? Explore resources. Things like Smart Recovery. It wants me to click a link. I ain't gonna do that. For practical exercises to let go of paralyzing negative emotions. And let's dive into a little bit. That gave us a lot to chew on, right? So, man, there's nothing worse than somebody at a job site or somebody at your house, a spouse, what have you, just whining, just not. It's one thing to be around your loved ones or a friend and just vent and get it off your chest, ask for solutions. That's different, right? We do that in recovery, and that's important. But when you're just complaining to complain, to fill the time, it's almost like gossip, like you're complaining. And I find myself doing that all the time, being a whiny little beep, right? And just getting to that place where, like, I know I need to work on it. And, this week is going to be tough because there's a lot of complaining. I'm a manager, and when you're managing people, things happen. When you're managing people, a lot of customers, things happen. And oh my gosh, do you want to complain a lot? So this week, I'm going to really focus on it, guys, because my spiritual well-being, the reason I stumbled on complaining is because I was doing a lot of it, right? I was just right? And here's me complaining about me complaining, right? That's how deep it goes. So this week, I'm going to just try to insert or, slap in a little bit more grace, a little bit more common sense, a little bit more spiritual principles, a little bit more patience to help me with this complaining, a little bit more insight and perspective, right? I'm going to seek to be understanding rather than to be understood. And I think, if it all fares out, that we can pull this thing off and slow down the complaints, right? Because my complaint box is full, and it's in my head, and it's overflowing, and it's falling, the slot's full, the slot's jammed, right? You can't even get anything else in there, right? And so getting to that point where we're just clearing it out, do a resentment burn if you have to. Take that clogged slot from your brain and take all those letters of complaints and throw them in the fire. So that's what we're going to do this week, guys. We're going to work on, just stop complaining. That's the mantra. Stop complaining, guys. I love you guys. Hopefully this podcast helped, and hopefully you work it with me and stop complaining like I'm trying to. It's going to be very hard, right? So I love you guys, and you guys have a blessed week. And we out. Love you. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to FD Recovery. A reminder, be kind to yourself on this journey of recovery. Also, call your sponsor, get connected to local support groups, and for one day at a time, stay clean and sober.